Hey, this is a first ride review of the Canyon Neuron CF9 SL. This is the top spec model that you can get in the USA. I think they have one higher spec model in Europe, which is the flight attendant setup on it, but this is the best you can buy in the US. It cost me $5,000, which I think is an absolute steal. My other bike is a specialized enduro, so 170mm 29er full-on enduro bike, which was perfect for my home country of Scotland, where it's all up and all down and we ride really gnarly, wet, rugged enduro tracks. But I have now moved to Massachusetts, where the trails are flat and rocky and super technical. So I needed something a little lighter, a little shorter travel, faster, particularly faster rolling, and but I also needed something that we could handle chunk. And there's a lot of amazing side hits here in Massachusetts, so big slabs, big rock rolls, some decent sized drops, and I didn't want to have something that was going to hold me back. So I was looking at things like the Transition Spur, which I just felt was just a bit undergunned in terms of travel for what I was needing, and then also things like the Transition Smuggler, but which I felt was overkill for what I needed. So I was looking for something that sort of sat in the middle, a 130 in the back roughly and 140 in the front. And this bike just came out, and I was like, after reading the reviews, I was like, that's the one. So just in terms of the spec, it's top spec. I'm not going to shout them out because you can see what they are, but it's all the best stuff. I think the kind of key highlights I'd point out is the SRAM code brakes, RSCs. For me, those are like some of the best brakes you can buy. My other bike is Magura MT5, which I think are sick, but these are as good. Amazing modulation and power, and for a kind of trail bike like this, it's just a great spec. Most people would put something like a Guide or an XT, and these are way more powerful and way more reliable, particularly than the Shimano's. I also really like the cockpit. So you got a race face carbon cockpit, with a beautiful stem, and you've got this setup going on here with the cables going through the front. I've never ridden a bike with that, so we'll see how we get on. I'll reserve judgment. I also think the tyre spec is brilliant. Most bikes I would buy, I would have to go and change the tyres immediately, but I will not. The knobby neck and the wicked wheel setup is just the perfect combination of grip and speed for trails that look like this. And this is the medium, so you can see the dimensions there. A reach of 4.55. I'm 177 centimeters, which is roughly 5'9.5" inches. And this fits me bang on. I think if I was any taller, if I was 5'10 plus, I probably would move into the large. But for these tight, technical, slow-paced trails, I find a shorter reach is better. And for reference, my Enduro is a S3, which is a 465mm reach, so pretty similar. So in terms of how it rides, so obviously I'm coming from an enduro bike with crazy amounts of travel, so obviously it climbs better, it's faster, it's noticeably lighter. I think it's about 4.5 pounds lighter than my enduro bike, which isn't huge. It's almost roughly bang on 30 pounds, and to be honest I probably wanted something a bit lighter, but I also didn't want to give up on durability or also the ability to go and smash those side hits. It's really firm under pedaling, much firmer and more responsive than the enduro. Obviously, with less travel, with 130 in the back. The lockout makes it completely rigid, so if you're on the road, as I was on the way here, it's beautiful. I've literally just set this up stock, so I've got the stock tire pressure, I've got the stock air pressure in the shock. I've not changed anything other than swapping the brakes around to the UK style. So I'm just going to fiddle from here depending on how I feel it rides today, but as an average sized, average weighted person, the stock setup seems to be pretty good for me. And in terms of the ride feel so far, it feels really intuitive. So within about a minute of riding the bike, I needed to fix something, and I actually adjusted the position of the brake lever while riding with no hands, and often I can feel how a bike rides by riding with no hands, and immediately I felt comfortable. It's a really good climber. It's light, it's responsive, it's good pedaling platform. It feels confidence on the down. You definitely feel way more of the trail, particularly with, you know, carbon frame, carbon wheels, carbon bar, pretty hard tire pressures. You can feel a hell of a lot more of the trail than you can on the enduro. But that's good, you know, for these types of flat trails. I think that's better. You know where your tires are and you know what you're doing next, rather than just smashing through stuff and kind of hoping that the suspension will suck it all up. And then I think one thing that really says a lot about how it rides is I've just ridden a pretty big, 40-foot rock roll, super steep, as steep as anything I've ridden in Squamish. I'd never actually ridden it before until today, because I'm new to the area, and I just rode it down on this bad boy and bottomed it out pretty much to the bottom in both, and yeah, it felt good. So I think that tells you a lot about how much confidence this has given me. So again, I've only ridden this for like an hour and a half, and so I will update it, provide an updated review maybe after a month or so, and let you know what I think. Cheers.